Good morning, Sebastien. Nice to see you today.
Good morning, Scott.
Sebastien, your Q1 results came out this morning. It's been a busy quarter for Endeavour with the completion of the Teranga transaction. Maybe you could summarise the key highlights of the quarter.
Well, I think that there are probably three key takeaways from this Q1. The first one is we are ahead of our budget, which is good, in particular for the first quarter. The second is that the Teranga assets are being well integrated. I visited the mines a number of times now over the last few months, and I can say that the culture is pretty similar, which has helped a lot in integrating those assets. I think overall we're on track in delivering the $100 million of synergies that we're expecting from the two acquisitions, both Semafo and Teranga, which is good. And you probably saw also that we're now moving forward on our programs to return value to shareholders. We paid the first dividend back in Q1. We've started also our share buyback program. We've already spent $12 million over the last few weeks, and we'll continue to increase these share buyback programs over the coming weeks, given the current share price. Last, I believe that our per share metrics is probably the most relevant given the corporate activity over the last 12 months. Our production more than doubled on a nominal basis, and however, the accretive aspect of the different acquisitions that we've made have shown that our production per share has increased by 20%, and the operating cash flow per share has nearly increased by 50%, which I think are two very interesting metrics to show how attractive those acquisitions have been for us over the last 12 months.
Sebastien, very positive for shareholders there. Now, earlier this year, you announced the positive pre-feasibility results at your development projects at Fetekro and Kalana, as well as the phase 1 at Sabodala. What else can we expect in 2021?
I think that we are now really focused on our organic growth. We've got a very strong pipeline of projects. Happy to see that the phase 1 of the Sabodala-Massawa expansion is progressing well. I was on site again 2 weeks ago to see the start of this construction of phase 1. It's progressing extremely well, and we're expecting it to be completed by year-end. In parallel, we're also progressing very nicely the definitive feasibility study for the phase 2, which is expected also at year-end. And as you mentioned, we had those two nice pre-feasibility studies that came out for Fetekro and Kalana, which are very encouraging. And we're progressing this year again on finalizing the feasibility study by year-end. So a strong organic growth, which is coming up, which is pleasing to see in our pipeline.
Now, moving on to the London listing, how's that tracking, and are you still expecting to list in Q2 this year?
Yes, we are progressing well. The target remains to be listed in London by mid-June, and we're very excited by this milestone. We should become we will be in fact the largest pure gold player on the London listing, and I think this would attract new investors, increase the liquidity, and overall be a strong and positive steps for our shareholders.
Thank you, Sebastien. Obviously very exciting to be listing in London. So what's the outlook for the rest of the year?
Well, I'd like to think that I can summarize in one word, Scott. The rest of the year would be predictable. Predictable because on the operational side, we have a great suite of assets which are delivering strong production and strong cash flows. We are clearly on track to meet our full year guidance, both on production and all-in sustaining cost. And I think that at corporate level, we have now a clear strategy focused on organic growth and the ability progressively to increase our program of return value to shareholders, either through our dividend, but also through our buyback program. So pretty attractive year upcoming for us.
Well, Sebastien, busy times ahead for Endeavour. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Scott.